Joint Resolution, Washington, D.C., July 15, 2021, calling on the United States Department of State to designate India as a country of particular concern for systematic, egregious violations of religious freedoms. Whereas the Indian government, led by the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, is promoting Hindu nationalist policies that are resulting in systematic, ongoing, and egregious violations of religious freedoms, and whereas mobs sympathetic to Hindu nationalism operate with impunity, persecuting and injuring Muslims, attacking mosques, and destroying homes and businesses in majority Muslim neighborhoods, and whereas in February 2020, the worst anti-Muslim Hindu violence killed more than 50 and injured more than 200 mostly Muslims, and whereas disinformation and intolerant content have emboldened intimidation, harassment, and mob violence against Dalits, Muslims, Christians, Adivasis, and other religious communities, and whereas the government of India has fostered and even supported a growing climate of hostility and violence against religious minorities, human rights advocates, and others speaking out against such violations, and whereas government officials and non-state actors continue to use social media and other forms of mass communication to harass and spread hatred and disinformation against minority communities and primarily Muslims, and whereas, despite India's constitutional protections for religious freedom, approximately one-third of India's 28 states limit or prohibit religious conversion, primarily interfaith marriages, to protect the dominant religion from perceived threats from religious minorities. And whereas these anti-conversion laws are too often the basis for false accusations of forced conversion, harassment, and violence against non-Hindus, including inciting mobs to attack Christians, destroy churches, and disrupt non-Hindu religious worship services, and whereas members of civil society, including human rights advocates and the news media reporting on religious freedom violations, face intimidation and harassment and often physical attacks, and whereas the passage in 2020 of the Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, a fast track to citizenship for non-Muslim migrants from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan residing in India, led to nationwide protests against the CAA and spurred state and non-state violence, largely targeting Muslims, and whereas the government of India is openly attempting through harassment and other means, often by physical force, to limit press freedom in India because the news media is regularly covering news of its violations of human rights, civil rights, and its persecution and harassment of non-Hindu religious practices. And whereas, most frightening of all, the BJP is an affiliate of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, which adheres to the Hindutva ideology of Vinayak Damodar Savarkar and M.S. Golwalkar, who were open admirers of Hitler and Mussolini, of Nazism and fascism, and who wrote, "To keep up the purity of its race and culture, Germany shocked the world by her purging of the country of the Semitic races, the Jews. Race pride at its highest has been manifested here, a good lesson for us in Hindustan to learn and profit by." Now, therefore, a union of concerned religious, secular, and political leaders support this joint resolution strongly urging the U.S. Department of State to declare India a country of particular concern under the guidelines of the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom and impose targeted sanctions on individuals and entities responsible for severe violations of religious freedom. Resolved this 15th day of July 2021. And we have more than 30 co-sponsors from a wide variety of faith backgrounds who've signed on to this resolution. And I'm going to read the ones who have signed so far, but there's definitely more time to still sign. More are joining us as we speak. Action Alliance to Redress 1219, Ambedkar International Center, American Muslim Institution, Association of Indian Muslims of America, Cambodian Development Foundation, Center for Pluralism, Church of Scientology National Affairs Office, Coalition Against Fascism in India, Coalition of Seattle Indian Americans, Council on American Islamic Relations, Dalit Solidarity Forum, Federation of Indian American Christian Organizations of America, Hindus for Human Rights, The Humanism Project, Australia, India Civil Watch International, Indian American Muslim Council, Indo-US Democracy Foundation, Dr. Peter McLuhan, Ingleside International, International Christian Concern, International Society for Peace and Justice, International Solidarity for Academic Freedom in India, Urban Bible Church Ukraine, Justice for All, Soraya Dean, Muslim Women Speakers, New York State Council of Churches, Norcross Law Firm, the Poetic Justice Foundation, Progressive India Collective, Scott Morgan of Red Eagle Enterprises, Scottish Indians for Justice, Scotland Students Against Hindutva Ideology, Sunshine Ministries, and the World of Life Center of Christian Churches of Ukraine. And there are many more that we expect to come.
So, Ajit, you were taking a selfie.